So in 2013, you end up going back to Aftermath for the Compton
Yeah.
album around then.
Yeah.
So you end up doing 6 joints on there, right? The intro, Loose Cannons, Issues, Deep Water, One Shot, One Kill, and Medicine Man. What was it like working on that project?
Well, first and foremost, shout out to the ICU and Dre for allowing me to come back in the door and allowing me to be a part of the team. This is no longer me being signed as a producer. It was the most uncomfortable but rewarding experience I've ever had in my life and at Aftermath. Saying that to say it wasn't me sitting in the studio by myself trying to forge a sound and make these beats. Now I'm sitting with my brothers in the ICU and we're trying to figure out, what direction we're going with Dre at the helm. This was the first time that I worked with him and not for him. And so it was just an amazing thing. He started to push me into ways that I never thought that I could be pushed. It was the best experience. I mean, I know that people are still trying to understand where we were artistically with the album, but I think that it was creative, and I think that where we were as men, it was indicative of the time, and it made sense.
Was this the start of the ICU? Because this was
Yes.
okay, got you. And who is in the ICU? Dem Joints, you.
Well, this is a different season of ICU. So when
Got you.
we first got started, that's why I don't think that Drake put out the name too soon. When I first came to work with Dre, he was talking about calling it the ICU. And it was myself, Kurt Chambers, Andre Brissett, um, Theron Feemster, the world knows him as nephew, and Trevor Lawrence Jr., and Dre at the helm. And so that's how we were getting together and making records. That's literally what we were doing day in and day out. And that's what I knew to be the ICU. And then as time went on after the project, um, thank thank God I'm still here. But now, the seats changed, and now it's we brought in Bluetooth, Eric Griggs. Um, he's amazing, multi instrumentalist and producer himself. David Balfour, who goes by Preach, amazing producer, instrumentalist. Fred Reck, who's a legend in his own right, and Dem Joints and myself, and then Dre at the helm. But the ICU is a little bit bigger than just the producers because we also have a team of engineers that have been rocking with us. We also have a team of writers that have been rocking with us. So whatever Dre says the ICU is, that's the ICU. I'm just part of it.
Got you. And you said at that time, working on the Compton album, it was a little uncomfortable for you because that was the first time you did collaborations, right? Where you were like,
Yeah.
you guys are piecing everything together, working off of each other's vibe and everything. And there's going to be some ego, there's going to be some little personality, little nuances that make it a little harder to put things together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I even had to check my own. Because I'm so used to going in the studio by myself. And if it doesn't go a certain way or a certain speed or a certain vibe that I have, maybe by myself, my ego, my pride would jump up. So I had to learn how to be of service and realize that this wasn't my thing. This is Dre's thing, and I'm playing a part. I'm here for support. Fred just did a amazing interview talking about his legacy, but he speaks about the ICU, and we're really there just to support Dre. We're the
Right.
orchestra, and he's the maestro.
So a lot of people were critical of that album, the Compton album, right? They were like, oh, it's not like 2001 and all that. How did you feel about that when that criticism came in?
I feel about that criticism just like I feel about all criticism even the criticism that Kendrick's getting for his halftime show. Everyone's allowed to have their opinions. Everyone's allowed to feel what they feel. When you voice it like it's law, it doesn't compute.
Right.
This is art. I'm allowed to create whatever art I feel. I am not pigeonholed or put in a box, and you cannot pigeonhole or put me in a box. So if I choose to do something, I'm going to do it how I feel. Dre is the biggest teacher of that. He doesn't want to do what he's already done. He doesn't want to be a rerun. And I appreciate him for teaching me that moments are smaller than events. It's bigger to have an event, to wield up and make something that's going to be spoken about and lived over and over again by making an event than making a moment. And even if it's infamy or famous, no matter what they're talking about it. And my hats off to everybody that did listen and support us through our creative moments. Like we create, we're creators. And I appreciate Dre for giving us no boundaries. We're allowed to create what we want, and he's allowed to create what he wants.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of one of those situations where it's like, if you want my old shit, go listen to my old shit. Like, I'm headed in a new
That's
direction, like,
that's
basically.
literally, I couldn't have said it better. That's literally what it is, bro. If you want to hear those old records, go listen to those old records.
Right. I think that what it is like, people forget that nostalgia is such a big part of it, right? Like, I can't replicate where you were at in your life when you heard that record and give you that same feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so different. You're going to be, well, I mean, what 2001 was in 99, and you
Right.
2015 is Compton. It's like 15-year difference. I can't replicate that
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. And it's not even replicating, like you said, and I'm glad you brought that up, man. It's growth.
Right.
I'm not where I was. It's not even about replicating. I'm just not where I was. So the life experiences that I've had for the past 14, 15 years, yeah, I'm going to sound different. I'm going to be different. I'm going to do different. You know what I'm saying? This is not like, okay, I'm going to keep talking about the hood. I don't live in the hood. I'm not going to talk about lowriders. I don't ride low. You know what I'm saying? So like these things, like these are ways that Dre is like, yo, they need to understand, like we're growing up. If you're still doing the same old thing, that's okay. That's you, but that's not me. I'm doing new things. And I want you to, if you want to go on the ride with me, let's ride. But if not, you know, you don't have to.